I'm glad you joined me for the second half of my video on summertime modal jazz. And I'm going to talk about the various scales that I played on the solos and also the pentatonic scale specifically. And I'm going to give you a second version, so you'll have actually two solos to listen to. The second version of Summertime that I played will be on this video. So you want to watch the first version if you haven't seen it yet. So here we go now with Summertime Modal Jazz. The scale that I'm using, this pentatonic scale, this minor pentatonic scale you might call it, is built from a major pentatonic scale. Now penta meaning 5, it's a 5-note scale. So if we took the C scale, pentatonic, it would be like this. So that's the pentatonic scale in the key of C. Now let's define it. Root, the 2, major 3rd, perfect 5th, major 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So now if we play modes of that, we're getting this sound. Or like this. Or like this. Same notes, but it's different, starting on different points of the scale. So the one I'm using, now I should point out before I continue here with that, is that this particular scale is used in hundreds of songs, and probably the most well-known one is Amazing Grace. And actually, if you look at the black notes, they form the pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So that Amazing Grace works perfectly with those notes. Like, see how that works perfectly. So now we're going to get into these various types of pentatonic scales, the minor scales. Now because this is a 4th voicing that I'm using, I'm not really, until I get to there, you don't really hear the minor 3rd in the chord. So now this particular scale works really well. That one. Sounds like a Japanese scale, really, a Japanese pentatonic, but now it's derived from the C major, as you can see, the C major pentatonic, but it's the 2nd mode of it. Now what I do is define it according to the D scale now, D major. So it's the root, the 2nd, the 4th, the 5th, the flat 7, and the root. So that's your scale, and that's the one I use the most, I think. But the other one I could use would be built on an F major pentatonic scale, which is this one. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 again. Now let's take the 5th mode of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, starting on a D now. So now you would have this. So that's another one that really sounds good, and it does define the minor quality in the chord by, let's define it again. Root, flat 3 or minor 3, 4, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, flat 7 or minor 7. So now you have that one. So that's a nice sounding one. So I'm using those. Now I use different variations of these. I'll get into those. Continuing, I want to mention that this solo that I played in this particular video is available as a download on my website. So you might want to download that and look at it before you continue. But also I have on that sheet the pentatonic scales that I'm using and how they're used in a variety of different ways. But the main thing I want you to understand in this video is the two pentatonic scales that are central to this video, which are the Dorian one based on the C major pentatonic, and then the minor one based on the F major pentatonic. So the C major pentatonic, the second step of it would be, you know, like Ionian Dorian, the second mode, and it would be this scale. So it's that one there. You can see how it fits the fourth voicing perfectly. And we have 1, 2, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. Now the other one, the F major pentatonic, which is relative major of the relative minor of D. D minor is relative minor of F. So now we're looking at the minor pentatonic built on an F major pentatonic scale. That goes like this. Now this particular scale, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, is the basis for hundreds of songs, including Amazing Grace, which I played earlier, and also the song Summertime, like this. It uses all the notes of that scale. Now it goes to here. This is the one alteration which has to fit the 5 chord, right? We need some tension, so we're going to change things there. But now, back to D minor. Right? Right? So there you have it. See, that scale is perfect, and it's included in my solo like this. The beginning of the solo goes like this. So that's that scale. See? You can hear it. It's just that is such a common scale that we use. Whether we know what it's called, whether we know it's a pentatonic scale based on F major, the relative major, or not. It's used so much. Now, I'm going to continue and wrap things up, but I'm going to play a slower version of the solo so you can really study it with the score and understand it. And there'll be analysis on the score of all the scales I'm using and how they relate to the chords. And that's very important. Now, if you want to skip this, you should go to the end of this video, because I figured out at the end what was wrong with my camera. And actually what happened was I was hacked. And the hacker was my alter ego. Or I like to call him my alter dominant ego. And you're going to hear from him. So stick around and check out the end of this video. Here we go. This is the last segment before you're going to hear the slower version of the solo. And I just want to wrap things up by saying I wanted to focus on the two pentatonic scales in this particular video that I used in my solo, in this video and the previous one. And then I want to do a third video. I just decided I need to do a third video because I don't want them to be any longer than 20 minutes or even less. So this one is just going to focus on those two scales, and we'll go into more detail later on. But until then, I will say to you, thanks so much for hanging in there with me, and thanks so much for all your comments. And swing loose. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.